Hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. Sit down, please. I'd like to speak English today too, to improve my speaking skill. Let's get it started. Today, it is December 9th, 2022. It's on Friday, and it's sunny outside. How are you spending Friday today? I believe most of the salaried workers and students will have holidays, 2 days off on Saturday and Sunday. So I think many people are happy today, except waiting for the weekends. According to the weather forecast, it will be sunny tomorrow. According to the weather forecast, it will be sunny until the noon, and towards the evening, it will be cloudy. Japan adopts the ledger system, and the United States adopts jury system. There are some differences between lay judge and jury system. Lay judge system. Lay judge. Have you ever been chosen as a lay judge? Have you ever been chosen as a lay judge? Or juror? Or backup lay judge? Backup lay judge. Lay judge system. What do you think of the lay judge system? Voters over the age of 20 will be chosen as a lay judge randomly. The voters over the age of 20 will be chosen randomly for a lay judge. Lay judge. Have you ever been chosen as a lay judge? Lay judge. Lay judge. Lay judge. Lay judge system. Have you ever been chosen as a lay judge? Japan adopts lay judge system. 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 Jury system. The United States adopts jury system. There are some differences between lay judge and jury system. Jury system. Juror. Jury. Juror. Have you ever been chosen as a juror? Have you ever been chosen as a juror? Juror. Jury. Jury system. Jury selection. Jury selection. Jury selection. Jury. Jury. Jury system. Jury system. Jury system. Do not. If your textbook has some marks on it, the price to sell will decrease. Second-hand textbooks can be sold through the internet, through some website. But if there are some marks in it, the prices will go down. If there are some marks in it, the price will go down. If there are no marks in the textbook, it can be sold better. It can be sold higher. Hmm. Hmm. The district marked 41.1 degrees Celsius. The teachers are busy with marking tests. The teachers are busy with marking tests. I saw some students marking the keywords explained by the teacher in the classroom. Did you use to mark the keywords in the textbook? By underline. There were many marks in the calendar hang on the wall of my friend's house. I marked 920 on TOEIC score in 2019, which I was aiming at. I marked 920 on TOEIC test in 2019, which was my purpose. I marked 920 on TOEIC test. I marked 920 on TOEIC test. I marked 920 on TOEIC test. Did you use to mark the keywords in the textbook? Did you use to mark the keywords in the textbook? If there are some marks in the textbook, the price to sell will go down. The price for sale will go down. If there are some marks in the textbook, the price for sale will go down. If there are no marks in the textbook, the price for sale will be better. Some areas marked the first snow of this year. Some districts have already marked the first snowfall. Some districts have already marked the first snowfall of this year. Some areas have marked the first snow of this year. Some districts have already marked the first snow. Some regions have already marked the first snow. Some northern regions have already marked the first snow of this year. Some regions have already marked the first snow of this year. Some regions have already marked the first snow of this year. The first snow might be marked in end of October in northern part of Japan. It depends on the region because Japan is long from north to south, so the temperature between north and south is very different. Some regions have already marked the first snow. Some regions have already marked first snow. Marked first snow. Some regions have marked first snow. Some regions have marked the first snow of this year. Some regions have already marked the first snow. Marked the first snow of this year. Some regions have marked the first snow of this year. I marked 920 on TOEIC test in 2019, which I was aiming at. I marked 920 on TOEIC test, which I was aiming at. I marked 920 on TOEIC test in 2019, which I was aiming at. I marked 920 on TOEIC test in 2019. The athlete marked 9.97 seconds in the 100-meter run. The athlete marked 9.97 seconds in the 100-meter run. The athlete marked 9.97 seconds in the 100-meter run. The athlete marked 9.97 seconds in the 100-meter run, which surprised us, which took us all by surprise, which took us me by surprise. Someone took me by the hand. Someone took hold of my hand. Someone took hold of my hand. Some regions, especially in the north, have already marked first snow of this year. There are many marks in the textbook of someone's. I saw many marks, so many marks in the textbook of my friends. There were many marks of the textbook in the textbooks of my friends. I don't like anything marked with many marks. I prefer pristine textbooks. If there are many marks on the textbooks or other books, the prices for sale will go down. No one can understand the marks written in the before century. No one can understand, no one can make heads or tails of the marks left by the ancestors before century. The researchers are researching the marks left by the ancestors 2000 BC. What does the mark mean? What does the mark indicate? 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 There are many marks in the textbook which will decrease the price for sale. There are many marks in the textbooks which will decline the price for sale. There are many marks in the textbooks which will decline the price for sale. There are many marks in the textbook which will reduce the price of the sale, reduce the price for sale, reduce the price for sale, which will reduce the price for sale, reduce, which will reduce the price for sale, which will reduce the price for sale, which will reduce the sale price for sale, reduce the price for sale, reduce the price for sale, which will reduce the price for sale, which will reduce the price for sale, reduce the price for sale, which will reduce the price, which will reduce the price, which will reduce the price, reduce the price for sale, which will reduce the price, reduce the price, which will reduce the price, reduce, which will reduce the price for sale, which will reduce the price for sale, reduce the price, which will reduce the price for sale, which will reduce the price, reduce, which will reduce the price for sale. I hope my ideas will hit the mark. I hope my plans will hit the mark. I hope your ideas will hit the mark, 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 hit the mark. Fortunately, my idea starting to hit the mark. Fortunately, my ideas started to hit the mark. Fortunately, my ideas, my crazy ideas started to hit the mark. Hit the mark, 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 hit the mark. I hope the lotteries bought by my father will hit the mark. Everybody who buys the lottery will wish for them hitting the mark. First prize, I think. Hit the mark. Hit the mark. Hit the mark. I hope my crazy ideas will hit the mark. 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 My throwing didn't hit the mark. Didn't hit the center. The athletes are trying to hit the center of the circle. A series of circles, series of circle. The athletes are trying to hit the center for getting points, for getting more points to win the tournament. I hope my crazy ideas will hit the mark. Hit the mark. Do you think my crazy ideas will hit the mark? The predictions made by the fortune teller did not hit the mark. The prediction made by the expert hit the mark. I think most of the predictions will not hit the mark. Most of the predictions will not hit the mark. We cannot tell what will happen in the future. There is no telling what will happen in the future. There is no knowing what will happen in the future. There is no knowing what is being conducted behind the scenes. There is no knowing what will be done behind the scenes. Only top secrets might know. Hit the mark, hit the mark. Do you think the newly established band will hit the mark? Do you think a newly released video game will hit the mark? Do you suppose the newly established music band will hit the mark? Hit the mark. Do you think a newly established supermarket hit the mark? Do you think the venture project will hit the mark? Do you think a newly started project will hit the mark? Hit the mark. 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 Do you believe the newly started project will hit the mark? Do you believe newly established project will hit the mark? Do you think the newly released video game will hit the mark? Released video game will hit the mark. Do you think the newly released video game will hit the mark? Do you think the newly released video game will hit the mark? Do you believe that the newly released video game, newly released video game will hit the mark? Do you think the newly released video game will hit the mark? There are some marking machines which will reduce the workload of the employees. The machine is very delicate enough to mark the very small points which human cannot do. The marking machines operate 24 hours daily, with some exceptions. The marking machine devices the marking devices work 24 hours a day, 365 days. The marking devices sometimes go wrong and need some fixation fix amendment. The marking machine sometimes go wrong and need our maintenance. Marking in these rental books cannot be allowed. Marking in these rental books cannot be allowed. Marking in the rented books cannot be allowed. Markings in this textbook is not allowed. Marking in the rented books are not allowed. Marking in these books rented from this library are not allowed. Marking the books rented from the library is not allowed. Marking books rented from the library is not allowed. So please bear that in mind. So please keep that in mind. Marking the books rented from this library is not allowed. Marking in the textbooks. Marking in the books rented from this library is not allowed. Marking in the books rented from this library is not allowed. Marking in books rented from this library is not allowed. Marking devices. There are many marking devices in the floor, which are reducing the workload of the employees. The marking devices are helping the workload, helping the production a lot. The marking devices are helping to select good and bad things by marking. The marking devices can detect the faulty parts. The marking devices can detect the faulty parts and mark them with black ink. There are many marking devices in the floor. There are many marking devices in the floor. Do you like marking? Marking is one of the ways to kill the time while you are talking on the phone. Some people kill the time by marking something, marking in white paper during the phone call. Marking might be one of the strategies to kill the time while you are on the phone. Marking devices, marking machines, marking devices, marking devices, marking devices. A couple of marking devices were introduced to the floor of the department. Is anniversary special for you? The 30th anniversary of the band will be soon. A special live commemorating the 30th anniversary will take place. The special live commemorating the 30th anniversary of the band will take place. Anniversary, 30th anniversary, 20th anniversary, 10th anniversary, 5th anniversary. Have you entered the court? 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 Entered the court. A court of justice. A court of justice. As an experience, I'd like to hear the trial. I haven't listened to a trial. I haven't heard a trial ever. So as an experience, I'd like to listen to a trial ever. I'd like to hear the trial of something once as an experience. I haven't listened to a trial. I haven't heard the trial. I haven't heard a trial. I haven't heard a trial. I haven't had a trial. I haven't heard 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 trial. A court of justice. A court of justice. Court. A court of justice. A court of justice. A court of justice. A court of justice. Have you entered the court of justice? Have you ever become a plaintiff in a court of justice? A court of justice. Is there a court of justice in your prefecture? Is there a court of justice? Where is the court of justice located in your prefecture? Where is a court of justice? Where is the court of justice located, situated, sited in your prefecture? Excuse me, I'm searching for a court of justice. A court of justice. There were many people waiting in the line before the trial in front of the court of justice. There were many people waiting in line in front of the court of justice for the trial. A court of justice. 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 The Supreme Court. The District Court. The Supreme Court and a District Court. There is a District Court in my prefecture. There is no the Supreme Court in my prefecture. There is the Supreme Court in Tokyo. Top Court. Supreme Court. The Supreme Court. I don't wanna take it to a court. I don't wanna take it to court. No one wants to take it to court if it is just costly with trivial problem. No one will want to take it to court if it is a trivial thing. And the procedure to start the trial sounds very confusing and costly. Why did you take it to court? Some people want to take everything to court, and some people has tendency to take everything to court. Some people have tendency to take many things to court. No one will take a trivial thing to court. I will not take trivial things to court. Many people will not take trivial things to court. I will not take it to court. I will not take it to court. I will not take it to court. I will not take that to court. I will not take trivial things to court. Trivial, subtle things to court. I will not take trivial things to court. I will not take trivial things to court. I will not take trivial things to court. I will not take it to court. Take it to court. Take it to court. Take it to court. I will not 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 take it to court. Why did you take it to court? 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 I will not take such a trivial thing to court. I will not such a trivial thing to court. I will not take such a trivial thing to court. Court. I will not take such a trivial thing to a court. I will not take such a trivial thing to court. I will not take it to court. I will not take it to court. I will not take such a trivial thing to a court. I will not take such a trivial thing to court. I will not take such a trivial thing to court. I will not take such a trivial thing to court. How long have you been served? How long have you served as an engineer? How long have you been serving as an engineer? How long have you been serving as a waitress? How long have you been serving as a waiter? How long have you been serving as a waiter? How long have you been serving as a waiter? How long have you been serving as a waitress? Serve. I have served as an engineer for 5 years. I have served as an engineer for 5 years. I have been serving as an engineer for 5 years. I have served as an engineer for 5 years. The waiter has served for 5 years. The waiter will have served for 5 years next year. The waitress will have served for 6 years next year. When I started to work as a waiter, my senior colleague had already served for 3 years. When I entered the restaurant as a waiter, my senior colleague had already worked there for 3 years. Serve. Serve. The waiter served for the company, for the restaurant, for 3 years. Samurais served to the head of samurai called shogun. Samurais served to shogun, served to shogun, served to shogun, served to shogun. Samurai served to shogun. How long have you served as a waiter? How long did you serve as a waiter? How long have you served as a waiter? How long have you been serving as a waiter? How long have you been serving as a waiter? I have been serving as a waiter for 3 years. How long have you served as a waiter? I have served as a waiter for 3 years. The secretary served to the boss. The secretary served to the CEO. CEO. The secretary served to the CEO and executives. The secretary served to the CEO. 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 All of the menus served in this restaurant are very volumey. All of the menus served in this restaurant include consumption tax. What services are you serving? I'd like to serve services which are admitted by the customers. I'd like to serve services which will please our customers enough. All of the menus served in this restaurant are very huge in amount. All of the menus served in this restaurant are so good. His duty is to serve coffee. The first duty of the secretary is to serve a cup of coffee and tea to the executives. The waiter served a cup of tea to my table. As soon as I sat on the chair, the waiter came and served a cup of tea. Have you ever served as a pilot? Have you ever served as a tour guide? Have you ever served as a tour guide? Have you ever served as a waiter? Do you have the experience of serving a pilot? Do you have the experience of serving a manager? Do you have the experience of serving a manager of a group? Do you have the experience of managing a group? Do you have experience of managing a group or a society or a company? Anything else? Do you have the experience of serving a CEO? Do you have the experience of serving a waitress or a cashier? Do you have the experience of serving a cashier? Do you have the experience of serving a cashier? The restaurant is famous for serving the dishes so fast, so quickly. The restaurant is famous for serving the dishes so quickly. Soon after we ordered the menu, they arrived. They were served. And soon after we ordered the menus, they were served. As soon as we ordered the menus, we ordered the menus. As soon as we ordered the menus, order the menu, order the menus. As soon as we ordered the menus, we ordered the menus. As soon as we ordered the menus, they were served. Soon after we ordered the menus, they were served. As soon as we sat at the table, cups of tea were served by the waiter. As soon as we sat at the desk, the waiter served a cup of tea. The waiter served cups of tea. The secretary has served the executives for 5 years. The secretary served the CEO and executives for 20 years, and now to resign. The secretary served the executives. The secretary served the executives of the company. The secretary served the executives. The secretary served the executives. Served the executives. The secretary served the executives. Served the executives. The secretary served the executives. The secretary served the executives. Served the executives. Served the executives. The secretary served the executives. Served the executives. Served the executives. The secretary served the executives for 3 years. The waiters and waitresses serve the customers as soon as they sit at the table. Who is in charge of serving the customers at the counter? Who is in charge of serving the customers? 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 The employee has been serving an engineer for 20 years. The engineer will have served as an engineer for 15 years next year. The employee will have served an engineer for 20 years next year. I will have served an engineer of the department in the company for 7 years next year. I will have served an engineer for 15 years next year. How long have you served an engineer? How long have you served the engineer? How long have you served the engineer? How long have you served an 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 engineer? I have served an engineer. I have served an engineer. I have served an engineer for 5 years. I have the experience of serving a waiter. I have an experience of serving a teacher. I have an experience of serving as a teacher. I have an experience of serving 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 a teacher. All of the menus served in this restaurant include consumption tax. As soon as we sat at the table, the waiter served a cup of tea. As soon as we sat at the table, the waitress served cups of tea. The secretary has served the CEO for 15 years. The secretary has served the CEO for 20 years. The secretary served the executives for 20 years. The secretary serves the executives cups of coffee and tea every morning. The secretary has served executives. The secretary served the executives for 2 years. The secretary served the executives, served the executives, served executives, served the executives. The secretary served the executives for 20 years. The secretary will have the last serving to the executives today. The secretary served the executives, the executives for 5 years. The secretary served the executives for 20 years. The secretary served the executives for 20 years. The secretary served the executives 3 years. The secretary served the executives for 3 years. The secretary served the executives, 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 served the executives. The secretary served the executives, served the executives. The secretary 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 served the executives for 4 years. Have you ever served as an engineer? Have you ever served 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 a programmer? Have you ever served a pilot? Have you ever served a doctor? Have you ever served a doctor? Have you ever served a dentist? 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 Have you ever served a pilot? Have you ever served a dentist? Have you ever served a waitress? Have you ever served a waiter? 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 Have you served a Have you ever served a waiter? Have you ever served a waitress? Have you ever served a waitress? Yes, I have served a waiter. 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 I have served a waitress. I have served a waiter. I have served an engineer. I have served an engineer for 5 years. I will have served an engineer for 6 years next year. As soon as we sat at the desk, the waiter served cups of tea. The secretary served the engineer. The secretary served the executives for 5 years. The secretary served the executives for 3 years. The secretary served the executives for 3 years. The secretary served executives for 3 years. The secretary served an executives for 3 years. The secretary served the executives served the executives for 3 years. The secretary served the executives for 3 years. The secretary served the executives for 3 years. I served an engineer. I served an engineer. I served an engineer for 2 years. I served an engineer for almost 3 years. I served an engineer 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 for 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 3 years. I served a teacher for 1 year. I served a teacher. I served a teacher. I served a teacher. I served the teacher. I served the teacher. I served the teacher for 1 year. Have you served a teacher? Have you served a teacher? Did you serve a teacher? Do you have the experience of serving a teacher? Do you have experience of serving a teacher? Do you have the experience of serving a teacher? Yes, I have served a teacher for 1 year. Yes, I served a teacher for 1 year. Yes, I served the teacher. I served the teacher. I served the teacher. I served the teacher for 1 year. After 3 years of service, the shop closed, although it was loved by everybody. After 3 years of service, the restaurant closed, although the locals loved it, loved the menu. What kinds of service do you serve? What kind of service are you planning? What kind of services are you planning? Planning. I'm planning a service which will be loved by everybody. The secretary served as a server to the executives. Who is the server who served this tea? Who is the server who served this tea? As soon as we sat at the desk, the server came to us. As soon as we sat at the table, the server came to us. As soon as we sat at the desk, the table, the server came to us. The server shut down because many people had access to the website suddenly, at once. Tremendous number of people had access to the website suddenly at once, so the server shut down. There are 2 or 3 servers at the front desk of the restaurant. There are 2 or 3 servers in the restaurant. Server. The secretary worked as a server. To the executives. Then, because of a lack of staff, because of the short of staff, it took a while for the server to take our orders. Because it was busy with a lot of customers in the restaurant, it took a while for the server to come to us to take orders. Since it was busy with a lot of customers inside, it took a while for the server to come to us to take our orders. The server went down. The server shut down when tremendous number of people had access to the website at once. Server, 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 computer server went down, shut down, when extraordinary number of people had access to the website at once. When the tremendous number of people had access to the website at once, the website shut down. Because there are not enough servers hired in the restaurant, it took a while for the server to come to us to take our orders. Computer server. The server shut down because a lot of people had access to the website at once suddenly. More people than expected had access to the website at once. The computer server shut down because more than expected people had access to the website at once. More than expected people had access to the website at once. The computer server shut down because more than expected people had access to the computer server at once. At that time, nobody backed me up. I had to solve every problem by myself, on my own. The newly discovered evidence will back up the theory. Hypothesis. The newly discovered evidence. The newly discovered evidence will back up support the hypothesis. We should back up the data just in case we lose them, for fear that we lose them. In case we lose them, lest we should lose them, in case we should lose them, for fear that we would lose them, we must lose them. If you were to fall from the bridge, it would be almost impossible to rescue you, so please be careful. Should you meet the boss, could you bring this document to him? Have you ever been chosen as a backup late judge? Backup members. Backup members. Backup members. Backup late judge. 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 Backup members of the regular members. Backup members of the soccer team. Backup members. Backup members of the soccer team. Backup members of the soccer team. Backup members of soccer team. Backup members of the soccer team. Backup members of soccer team. Backup members of soccer team. Backup members of the 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 soccer team. Backup. Many people back up political party is the Liberal Democratic Party. Many people are backup. Many people are backup of Liberal Democratic Party in Japan. Backup late judge. Backup late judge. Backup members of the soccer team. Backup member of the baseball team. Backup members. Backup members. Backup members of the soccer team. Backup members of the baseball team. Backup members of something. Backup members of the soccer team. 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 Backup members of the baseball team. Backup members of the soccer team. Backup members of the soccer team. Backup members of the baseball team. Have you ever been chosen as a backup late judge? Have you ever been chosen as a backup late judge? Backup late judge. Backup. Have you ever chosen as a backup late judge? Have you ever been chosen as a backup late judge? Have you ever been chosen as a backup late judge? Have you ever been chosen as a backup late judge? Have you ever chosen as a backup late judge? Have you ever chosen as a backup late judge? Backup members of the soccer team. Backup members of the baseball team. Backup members of the soccer team. Backup members of the soccer team. Backup members of the baseball team. Hmm. Backup members of the soccer team. Backup data. Backup datas of something. Let's leave backup datas in case of emergency. In case of emergency. In case of a sudden shutdown of the computer. Let's take the backup data. Let's leave the backup data. Let's leave the backup data. Let's leave the backup data. Backup data. Let's leave the backup data. Let's leave the backup data just in case. 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 Let's leave the backup data. Let's leave the backup data just in case. Are you backup of something? Are you backup of the soccer team? Which soccer team are you backup of? Which baseball team are you backup of? Which soccer team are you backup of? Are you backup of the team? Which baseball team are you backup of? I was chosen as a backup member of the soccer team. I was chosen as a backup member of the baseball team. I was chosen as a backup member of the soccer team. I was chosen as a backup member of the baseball team. Backup, 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 backup member, backup data. Let's leave the backup data. Let's leave the backup data. Did you take the backup data? Have you taken the backup data? Have you taken the backup later? Have you left the backup data? Have you taken the backup data? Have you taken the backup data? Have you left the backup data? Have you left the backup data? Have you taken the backup data? Have you taken the backup data? Backup data, backup tire, backup member, backup tire, spare tire, backup tire, backup data, backup datas. Where are the backup datas? Let's leave the backup datas. Let's take the backup datas, just in case. Backup datas. I got zero backup at that time, so I had to cope with problems on my own. I got zero backup. I got zero backup. I got zero backup. There is no backup to me. There was no backup to me at that time, so I was obliged to solve everything on my own. I was forced to solve everything. I was forced to solve everything. I was forced to solve everything. I was forced to solve everything on my own, by myself. Where is the backups? Where are the backups of the data? Where are the backups? Where are the backups? Where are the backup? Where is the backup of the data? Where are the backups of the data? Where is the backup of the data? Where is the backup of the data? Where is the backup of the data? Let's have the backup. Let's leave the backup. Let's take the backup. Backup data. Backup data. Let's take the backup. Let's take the backup. Let's take the backup. Let's take the backup just in case. There is much backup from the fans. Thanks to the much of backup from the fans, the celebrity came back. Not many people will back up me. Not many people 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 back up me. Let's back it up. Let's back up the data. Let's back up the data just in case. The newly discovered evidence will back up the hypothesis. The newly released experimental results will back up support the hypothesis. The newly released experimental data evidence will support the hypothesis. The newly released experimental results. The newly released experimental results. The newly released experimental results will back up the hypothesis. The newly released experimental results will back up the hypothesis. The newly released experimental data results will back up the hypothesis. The newly released experimental results. The newly released experimental results. The newly released experimental results will back up the hypothesis. Not many people back up me. Not many people back up me. Not many people back up me. Are you familiar with criminal law? The man was arrested for violating, including breaching criminal law. No criminal activities are allowed. No criminal activities are allowed. Criminal activities are not tolerable. Criminal activities are intolerable. Is there a criminal code in your prefecture? 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 Criminal code. Criminal code. Criminal code. Is there a criminal code in your prefecture? Criminal code in your prefecture. Is there a criminal code in your prefecture? Violating the criminal law is a criminal offense. Violating a criminal law is a criminal offense. Is there a criminal code in your prefecture? Committing a criminal offense is not allowed. Violating a criminal law is a criminal offense. Violating criminal law is a criminal offense. Violating criminal law is a criminal offense. Criminal activities are not allowed. No criminal activities are allowed. No criminal activities are allowed. Criminal activities cannot be tolerated. Criminal activities cannot be tolerated. Criminal activities are intolerable. The detectives are investigating the incident, searching for more criminals related to the crimes. The detectives are investigating the incident in search of more criminal activities by the criminals. The detectives are investigating the incident deeply, more precisely, in search of extra criminal activities by the suspect. The detectives are searching for extra criminal activities by the offender. The detectives are searching for additional criminal activities by the man. Criminal activities are not allowed. Criminal. A criminal code. Is there a criminal code in your prefecture? A criminal code. The building over there is a criminal code. The building over there is a criminal code. The building over there is a criminal code. The building over there, the concrete building over there is a criminal code. The concrete building over there is a criminal code. 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 District code. Tokyo district code. Some district marked first no. And some districts have already marked first no. And some districts have already marked first no. Some districts have already first no. Some districts have already marked first no. A criminal code. A criminal code. A criminal code. A criminal code. A criminal offense. 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 The man was arrested for a criminal offense. The man was arrested for a criminal offense. The incident was taken to a court for a criminal offense. The incident was taken to a court for a criminal offense. The incident was taken to a court for a criminal offense. 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 The man was arrested for a criminal offense. 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 A criminal offense cannot be allowed. I hope the number of criminal offenses will be zero. I hope the number of criminal offenses will be zero. Criminal offenses will be zero. Criminal offense. I hope the number of criminal offenses will be zero. I hope that the number of criminal offenses will be zero. I hope that the number of criminal offense will be zero. The victim asked some questions to the criminal at the court. The victims of the incident asked some questions to the criminals. Do not commit a crime. Do not commit a crime. The man was arrested for committing a crime. Do not commit a suicide. Do not commit a suicide. Do not commit a crime, okay? The man was arrested for committing a crime. The man was arrested for committing a crime. <clears throat> 108 worldly sins. Joya no Kane is a temple bell ring which is sounded on New Year's Eve to drive away 108 worldly sins. 108 worldly sins. 108 worldly sins. Worldly sins. Let's get rid of our sins. Sins. Sin. 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 Let's drive away, get rid of, remove sins. Sin. Worldly sins. 108 worldly sins. 108 worldly sins. Sins. Sin. Sin. My last trip to a foreign country was 2019, before coronavirus spread pandemic. Not many people can last a thing. The good feature of LED is to last for a long time. The good feature of the LEDs are that they last for a long time. The good feature, one of the good features of the LED is to last for a long time. If you are into something, it will last for a long time or forever. If you are really curious of the thing, it will last forever. Quitting means you are not so into that. If you are really interested in something, it will last forever, eternally, perpetually, forever. The rain has lasted for a week since last week. The rainy weather has lasted since last week. The rainy weather has lasted since last week for a week. The rainy weather has lasted for a week since last week. The rainy weather has been lasting since last week for a week. My last trip to a foreign country was 2019. My last trip to a foreign country was 2019. Family will be the last members to betray us. Family will be the last people to betray us. Family will be the last members to betray us. Swimming in the sea is the last thing for her to do. Swimming in the sea is the last thing to do for her. Doing what she is not interested in the last thing to do for her. Doing what she is not interested in. Doing what she is not interested in is the last thing for her to do. Cooking is the last thing for her to do. My last trip to a foreign country was 2019. I still remember the last food served at the junior high school. I still remember the last menu served in the junior high school. I still remember the last menu served in the junior high school. Curiosity means the no last, no end to the pursuing. Curiosity means the no end, no last to what you are doing. Curiosity means no last to what you are doing now. I cannot see the last of the queue because there are so many people waiting in front of the shop. I could not find the last of the queue to buy the goods in the shop. Excuse me, I'm looking for the last of the queue because I also want to wait in the line to buy in the shop and to get good dealings. Excuse me, I'm looking for the last of the queue. Where is the last of the queue? I also want to buy something, good dealings in the newly opened shop. Lasting prosperity, lasting good sales figures, lasting love, lasting batteries. I replace old batteries with new ones, with more lasting ones. I replace the old batteries with more lasting ones, more lasting and stronger ones. I'm searching for lasting batteries for my LED light. Hmm. Lasting for a long time is symbolizes the curiosity of something you have. Lasting forever symbolizes the curiosity of what you're doing. We can know our curiosity by doing something for a long time. We can notice our curiosity by looking at those lasting for a long time. Noticing something lasting for a long time. We can notice the curiosity of something we are doing by noticing the length of that. Lasting length. Lasting peace, a lasting peace, a peace, a lasting peace, a lasting peace, a lasting peace. We are wishing for a lasting peace. We are wishing for a lasting peace. We are wishing for a lasting peace. Lasting peace, a 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 lasting peace. A lasting peace, a lasting peace, a lasting peace. I replaced all the batteries. I replaced all the batteries with more lasting new ones. New lasting ones. I replaced batteries of the LED light with new ones. With new lasting ones. The LED light is getting dim. I need to replace the batteries with more lasting ones. The flashlight is getting dim. I need to replace the batteries with new ones. Replace. The flashlight is getting dim. It's becoming dim. It's turning dim. I need to replace. I need to replace the battery. Replace the batteries. I need to replace the battery. Replace the batteries. I need to replace the batteries with new ones. More lasting one. Lasting lab. Everlasting lab. Eternal lab. Eternal lab. If you are really into that, it will last. It will lasting. It will be lasting. A lasting peace. Lasting. A lasting peace. A lasting peace. Lasting. A lasting peace. A lasting love. A lasting curiosity. A lasting hobby. Do you have a lasting hobby? A lasting effort. Can you have a lasting effort? Can you have a lasting effort? Lasting. Top coat. Supreme coat. Top coat. Supreme coat. Top coat. Supreme goddess of the sun. Top coat. What is the difference with the between top coat and supreme coat? Top coat and supreme coat. Top coat. Have you ever been chosen as a backup lay judge? Have you ever been chosen as a backup lay judge? Have you ever been chosen as a backup lay judge? Backup late judge, backup late judge, backup late judge. Have you ever been chosen as a backup late judge? Backup member of the soccer team, backup member of the baseball team, backup late judge, late judge, late judge, backup 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 late judge. Backup late judge, backup late judge, backup late judge, backup late judge. District court. Is there a district court in your prefecture? Yes, there is one. District court. Tokyo District Court. Tokyo District Court. Supreme Court. Top Court. High Court. Top Court. Highest Court. District Court. Some districts have already experienced snow. Some districts have already marked first snow. Some districts have already marked snow. Some districts have already marked snow. District court. District court. A 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 top court. A supreme court. A district court. Okay, I will finish speaking here. Thank you for watching. See you next time. See you.